And so, my dear ones, welcome into the sanctuary this great morning. Are you all jazzed and are you all buzzed from all that great music? Fasten your seatbelts. You haven't heard anything yet. Yeah. So it's my delight to be here on this fourth Sunday when we conclude our looking at our trip through the 4 first chapters of our great book. The thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. And so there you have it. We have life, brilliant life, magnificent life, Spirit's life, everywhere present. And we have learned that it works through the law of consciousness, the law of mind. And we know that what it does, it creates. And how to use it, then, is the question for today. How to use it. And this morning I was saying, I used to give a big, long talk on how to use it, but this morning I could sum it up in one word. And how we use it is consciously. It's the best way to use the power that is, the one power that is, the one life that is, the one energy that is, the infinite intelligence that is, consciously. And when we use it consciously, the odds are we're going to have the beautiful and wonderful results that we would so desire to have by using that power and that presence, that infinite intelligence, that force in that conscious state of awareness and presence and focus and being deliberately intentional and directional as we use that power and that presence. That's the way we use it. And so, my dear ones, we have given to us in a wonderful way in our teaching in the science of mind and spirit, the science of mind and the practice of the heart, a beautiful tool with regard to how to use our awareness of the presence and the power of spirit. And it is a tool that in the beginning are simply only training wheels, because after a while we don't need the training wheels. But in the meantime, and for a long time, and in and out of various states of consciousness, we go back to using our training wheels. And the training wheels here would be spiritual mind treatment. Spiritual mind treatment. I like the word treatment because it indicates to me something's getting done. Something's been taken care of. I'm having a treatment. I will feel better afterwards, whether it's to the chiropractor or whatever. If I'm having a treatment, I expect to feel better after the treatment. So spiritual mind treatment works very well for me. And of course, every realization takes place in consciousness because we live in a mental universe. We live in a creation that is a spiritual creation, a mental creation. And that's very powerful. And even just knowing that is a powerful thing to know. So we have these steps that we call steps in prayer to help us realize any good that we desire. But remember, any good that we desire will always demand of us first and foremostly. The first step would be clarity, clarity, clarity. Clarity of, indeed, the thing that we desire. Do we really desire it? Are we very clear about it? Are we consciously connected to that idea? And so that's the first step. And then the second step would be lots of affirming affirmation, all these affirmations that we do, lots of the affirming thinking and words that we speak. We need that to support the idea, to strengthen the idea, to grow the idea, to have a wider spin in the idea so that the nucleus that it creates is powerful. And then the third thing we need is absolute faith. Faith in the creative process and knowing that when I am clear about something and it's a good that I desire for myself or another or all of life indeed, and when I support that idea and when I back it up, that faith in the creative process working and affirming the idea and bringing the idea into being is very, very essential, because it is the faith that keeps it alive and keeps it strong and getting stronger until it is realized. So that's where we need to be when we show up ready to practice and use this tool that we have to our use, this tool of affirmative prayer. And then the 5 basic fundamental steps of affirmative prayer. The first one is, of course, the understanding and the realization of the way life is and how it is. And the way life is it's filled with one thing and one thing alone. And it is divine substance. It is the very power, it is the very force, it is the very presence of what most people call God. That which is unnameable, that which is indescribable, because to do that would be a real big laugh in the cosmos, because the finite cannot truly identify that which is infinite and describe it the way it is. We can have a go at it and we can do our best with it, and that's fun, and we should. But that's not what it is. It's always more than what we think. Everything is more than what we think it is on the affirmative side of life. So God is my first thought. Good is my first thought. Life is my first thought. Life is, light, all of that is. And it's everywhere present. It's an isness that's everywhere present. There's no place where it's not. No place at all. So I come to the understanding and the awareness that, oh my goodness, isn't it a beautiful thought to know that God is everywhere present, even though when you look out from yourself sometimes, or when you look into the big wide world out there, it doesn't seem that that is so. I'm not looking and finding evidence that would suit the human eye or the human emotion to be able to say, yes, God is everywhere present. And it's like a contradiction in terms. We say God is everywhere present, and yet we say, no, God couldn't possibly be in that situation. God couldn't possibly be in them. God couldn't possibly be in him or in her. And yet the truth is, oh yes, but oh yes, God is. But at a level that is very unconscious in some persons, places, situations, and things. But nevertheless, fully orbed, fully present, full potential of the realization of that when it is recognized and when it is identified with. But see, if you're not recognizing it and you're not identifying with it, it seems sometimes that it's absent, either in myself or in another. So the first step is God is. And so one can get really caught up in just, yumming up on that. When you think about it, that presence is filling me, and it's filling everything else. That presence is pressing in on me, leaning in on me, and it's moving out from me, moving out from me, moving out from me too. So I can become so embroiled in this whole idea of God being all. That's the only step I need to take in any prayer. Because if I know God is all there is, then I know this complaint of mine is just an illusion, and it's temporary, and it's transient, and it will not remain. It is not permanent. And my knowing that God is everywhere present, if I see it in the ailment, whether it's a mental one, a physical one, a spiritual one, or emotional one, it will dissipate itself. It must. Because where God is, God can only be, and there cannot be anything else present. God knows nothing of anything else other than itself. God can only be God's self, and God can only experience God's self, and that's all. And that's why we're told, when you enter into the secret place, leave your shoes outside the door. Leave your shoes outside the door. That is all your ideas and all your thinking and all your thoughts about the worldly world and the humanity of yourself. Leave that aside. Because if you bring it with you, you can't enter in. Only God can move into God. Only God can be in God's presence. So sometimes when our prayers are not being answered, maybe we have to stop thinking that we're wretched sinners and horrible people and this and that and the other, and boy did I blow it, and boy did I get that wrong, and oh my God, how can they ever forgive me, and oh my. Just knock that off. Because that is not me. That is my behavior. It's not truly who I am and what I am. But as soon as I can enter into who and what I am, I can move into that unification with Spirit. And then I can truly say, God is, and God is all there is, and there is only God. And then I can move into the next step. And I am one with God, because I'm in God and God's in me. And again, I'll remind you, I'm not saying that I am all of God. I am so not all of God. But I can say, God is all of me. Because I'm not only one with God, I'm one of God. I am of God. And the only thing that can be of God is God. Regardless of what I'm thinking and feeling and the debauched life I may have lived. Nevertheless, when I get over that and understand that's not me, and I can leave it behind me where it belongs, and I can move into my sovereignty and my authority and into my divinity, and I can move into my godhood, and I can move into the truth of my being, then everything else is obliterated, gone forever gone, obliterated. All that remission due to sin that we learned as a child, gone, forever gone, exists no more. Exists no more. Cannot be. That's my second step. God is all there is, and I am one with God. Now, if I get there, I need go no further, because once I've realized that, everything else has been dissipated. Everything else is dissipated because nothing unlike God then exists in me, around me, or about me. However, the fun part is, when I get to be that stage, I am so giddy with delight. I am so jazzed at the realization. I am so high on the understanding and the awareness that God is and God is all there is, and I want to shout it from the rooftops. So therefore I can say, of course I'm whole, healthy, and well. Of course I have fullness and plenty and experience, divine opulence in all of my affairs. Of course I'm living in loving relationships with all and in myself. And of course I'm magnificently, creatively expressing the divine that's flowing through me, of course. And when I declare the truth of being, of course, what's the next thing? I'm full of gratitude, which is the fourth step. I'm full of gratitude. It flows through my blood, my veins, and every part and particle of my bodily being, my mental being, my spiritual being, my emotional being. I am grateful. Yes. I am thankful. I am so, so, so blessed. And because I am, I praise and 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 I thank and I love the source of my being that has caused me to have this experience for some reason. And then it's not enough to keep it within myself, because if I do, I'll explode. So I release it out there into all of life and all of living, so that all of life and living can praise and raise and be celebrating like I am now in this realization. That's how I can pray. That's how you can pray. I'm telling you, you have the power. It is within you. It is flowing through you and out from you. It oozes out of every atom of your being. And you get to direct it. You get to mold and fashion it into an expression in your life, into a realization into your life, into an experience in your life, if you so desire it. So help you, God. You can do this. Everybody can do this. Many people are doing this. And if one of us, and only one of us, can do it, all of us can do it. So let's be doing it by what? Being it. Being it consciously, being aware that no thing and no one and no situations can stand in front of me and visit me and bring me down. Nothing and no one can do that if I know what I know. If I know that the power and the presence of all of creation is at my back and saying, I don't think so. Because all unlike of spirit must bow down before spirit and dissipate itself in its presence. That is why. So we need to churn ourselves up. We need to stop ailing ourselves by thinking we are so this and so that and so the other and so not and so not and so not and don't have and don't have and don't have and don't deserve and don't deserve. Baloney. There's no deservability because none of us deserve anything. We're entitled through our divinity, through our divine inheritance. We are entitled to the kingdom and all of its good. All of its good. And we are told over and over again, you access that good through the power of consciousness and coming into agreement with it. My goodness me, look at the awesome power that fills this room today. And if it was directed consciously, you and I, just the group of us in this world, could indeed establish peace out there, could indeed unify what's going on out there, could indeed create that new life and that new world that we so desire. You, and me with you. We could do this if we could just know God is all there is, and I am one with God, and so it is.